Here at Be Freaking Awesome, we believe that life is too short to be anything less than extraordinary. Join us as we explore what it means to live authentically, grow continuously, and have a blast while doing it. Let's get started. Welcome, everyone, to this week's episode of the podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Sami Kinnison, and I'm a communication coach who helps people to be freaking awesome.
I'm Angela Belford, and I am an executive coach who is most often called when someone is working on a business problem that strategy won't solve. So they want to get into the deeper issues that are maybe buried somatically, hidden patterns that they can't see.
Today, we are going to be talking about hopeful anticipation. I think that we've had a couple of episodes that have been about expectations versus agreements. We've talked about disappointment. We've talked about what is it like when you hit your goal and it's not what you wanted. We have a little bit of a theme this year where we're unpacking this nugget and really dusting it off from all the sides. And so, Angela, when you think about hopeful anticipation, what is different about that than expectations and kind of help set us up for the episode?
Yeah, well, for starters, I want to say that I believe that what I talk about and the drum that I beat so often is that mindset isn't everything, positive thinking isn't everything. And sometimes it really is. Mindset does help. Like when there's nothing that's like hidden patterns holding us back, we don't have beliefs that are holding us back, then now's the time to choose positive thinking and to choose the right mindset. And so I use this, I really, this hopeful anticipation has been a word I've been talking about things like marbles rolling around in my head, maybe because I went to the the bar Pinpoint a couple of times in a few months period where I watched pinball games and seeing how random and haphazard they seem to be. This has been like a marble rolling around in my head of sometimes things don't work out the way you think they're going to. And while, yes, we have to wrestle with disappointment, I'm like, okay, well, y'all all know I don't love disappointment, but part of the disappointment is because we've got expectations. And so what's the alternative to that? And what I've found is that figuring out that everything really honestly believing everything works out the way it's supposed to in the end. Often not the way I thought it should. Sometimes I will say things like, "Ooh, I really love the Garth Brooks song. Sometimes I thank God for unanswered prayers." Right? I I sometimes wish and want something to happen and then figure out the consequences of if I would have gotten what I wanted, and it would have been real bad and unexpectedly bad. And so I also have enough faith perspective to know that like really things do ultimately work out. Even I've had several friends that have gone through breast cancer, and when you talk to them and you're like, "Man, what what is your takeaway? What can you share? What wisdom do you have?" And they're like, "I would not wish this on anybody, and I wouldn't change it because it has changed me." And in the midst of hard, knowing that we are becoming a different version of ourselves creates that idea of hopeful anticipation. And it's to me just a really lovely antidote to disappointment. Because then, while sometimes I do need to sit and feel my disappointment, sometimes I can like shrug it off and go, well, I don't know why that didn't work out. Wonder what's next. And I've lots of examples. I had a client that told them, I'm like, hey, I know I'm supposed to give you a proposal today, but I can't figure out how to market for you. So I'm not going to take a bunch of money and you get mad at me. He sent me 4 clients for the next year, in the next year, because he's like, she'll tell you for real if your idea is dumb. I didn't tell you your idea is dumb. And so I think there have been enough things that have worked out really in neat ways for me. I also have a practice that when I sign a client, I always go back and find and go, "Well, how did I meet them? How did that come to be? How did that come to be? How did that come to be?" And, signed a client this week, and I'm just like, "Oh, man, did I sign them because," and there were so many pathways to that coming together. Some of them were me making a random cold call, 8 years ago so that her boss was willing to pay. Of course, if Angela Delford's offering it, I guarantee you it will be quality. And, so anyway, I think that's probably why, but it's just been a neat antidote to this season of wrestling with disappointment.
I want to, I don't know, maybe drill in on the episode in a way I didn't think I was going to. I don't think it's hopeful anticipation. I think it's hope. I think
Mm,
that it is just the hope that this will work out in the way it's supposed to. And I think that as somebody with less experience, I am pretty sure that all things are going to work out the way that they're supposed to. But sometimes I don't actually know. And sometimes I get really discouraged and frustrated and like I'm not sure what the path forward is. And I hope this works out. I hope that one day I will get to look back on this moment and say, oh my gosh, thank goodness for that moment. And even that can be just enough like attunement to say, I hope that this will work out, that it's looking forward and it's starting to prime myself for what are the things I'm looking for, as opposed to just looking at what I don't have or what I didn't get or what expectation was missed. It's hoping that something good will come from it. Do
mm,
you what do you think? Like, is the anticipation part of it or is it
yeah,
it is just
for me it
hope?
is. For
Okay.
me it is. There's something a little bit passive about hope for me. Obviously, the reason why I didn't just call this anticipation, but it was hopeful anticipation. I do want to be full of hope. I do want to be full of um, that feeling that all things will work out. But I choose the mindset of looking for the good, because I think sometimes if we don't look for the good, then it could miss us. And you have to then wait until you got a season of reflection and you look back and go, "Oh wow, 3 years ago that didn't work out." I feel like it has heightened my awareness so that I'm looking around and I'm like on the lookout. Like, where's it at? I'm searching for it. And it feels different. It also feels like when people are like, "Oh, well, the reason why you're disappointed is because of expectation." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, because to me, the lack of expectation has always felt like apathy."
Right.
And now to have something different that is not just, I don't know, for me, hope just feels like it's on this pendulum swing, and I choose to keep going over to hopeful anticipation. And maybe that's experience, and I think it's a choice. And it takes a lot of courage to choose that, because man, when you are in hopeful anticipation and then you do get disappointed, sometimes it can take you out if it's something really big. Like it'll be like, man, now I'm gonna go have to feel my disappointment for 2 days. I'm like, go and, be grumpy for 2 days. But so I'm not saying everything, I'm always cheerful and happy about absolutely everything that happens. But I am saying that this has been a better alternative for me.
It feels a
Like,
little bit like it's a middle ground, because I think that there's the one side where, like, maybe you had an expectation and it was met and it felt great and wonderful, and then there's and then you had something, an expectation, and it wasn't met and it was disappointment. It's, the flow chart. So now once you go down below that one, you have a choice to stay in disappointment or to look for what's good can come of, quote, "not getting what I wanted," or or in any situation, like, "Oof, man, this is rough," or, what is it? What else could happen? I I find that there are things beyond what I could have imagined to have
sure.
occurred, and that is something that within hopeful anticipation, it's it's hard to be like, "Oh, what's my goal for what's gonna happen after this?" It's like, no, it's being open to, I've literally no idea,
Yeah.
the and trusting in the serendipity and trusting in and the guiding that like things are going to come of this. I also hold space at times that it might not be something for me, and I
Mm,
accept that. And so there are occasionally I will be really excited about trying to like work with somebody as a client and it ends up not happening. And then the next person that they go meet with, they work with, and it ends up being exactly what they needed. And it then it wasn't about me. It's that I was a path on their journey. I was the stop for them to learn something about themselves, to realize something, to get into a better awareness. And it wasn't about me necessarily accomplishing my expectation, but I got to be a character in their story to help get them to their destination. So even when I have hopeful anticipation, sometimes I get to see the ripple effects of things. Sometimes I don't. And I do trust that it is going to work out even if it is in a way that is far beyond my actual like perception and realm where I get to see what's going on. These are they work out the way that they're supposed to, and it'll be okay.
yeah.
I'm not always able to maintain that same like, I don't know, lofty ideal. I think there are some times where I feel more toddler-esque and like, "Well, no, I wanted my way." And yeah, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there's an exact answer to that, other than just time and growth. Maybe somebody else has ideas, if you have ideas, but there are sometimes I can get really stuck in this is how I wanted it to work out. And I think about like my toddlers, they are very good at giving you good life reflection that they want things their way. My daughter, it was a couple weeks ago now, was furious because she had to come with me and Peter to his wellness appointment and he had to get vaccines, and she was furious at me that she did not also get shots. And like I I like didn't I lost I was like, I don't know how to reason with you and be compassionate for you right now. You are crying at me for 45 minutes. I wish I was exaggerating. It's 45 minutes because I didn't let her get jabbed with a needle because she didn't need anything. Like I was just like, this is you just and those kinds of moments occasionally I'm like, this is how you act, Sammy. You act like somebody screaming for 45 minutes because you didn't get to have the thing, but actually it wasn't what you needed right now. It wouldn't be good for you. It would cause like it's not what you needed. And okay, fine. I get the perspective. I take the message, but it doesn't change that I still act that way at times and I can't quite be like, no, that's okay. I kind of wanted that, but maybe this will work out better. However, so there you
Yeah,
go.
and I am not advocating for ignoring your feelings. Please
Right.
do not hear me to say that if you feel disappointed, take a minute. That sucks. And I will have people and this is what I did for years, so that's why it's so easy for me to recognize. I will have people that are be like, um, I um
They almost immediately go for the silver
yeah,
lining.
they do. They instantly go to, I know, whatever. And I'm like, no, 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 that sucked. And they're
Right.
like, yeah, it kind of did. And I'm like, how about you feel what that feels like for a minute? Like, just can you give yourself like 5 or 10 minutes? You worked on this project for months and months and months. Like, take a minute and feel how crappy it feels that you didn't get what you wanted. Because if you don't, your body is going to store that up and it's going to come out at a time when you don't need it to. And so you might
Right.
as well take the opportunity because it's coming out eventually. So take the time and be like, yeah, this sucks. And we have such a deep fear of wallowing. And I'm just like, 10 minutes is not wallowing. It's not. I mean, and maybe that's the maybe hopeful anticipation is the idea to help people who are afraid of becoming a wallower. And they're like, no, no, no. And this is what I did for years. And positive thinking is the thing. And I'm gonna, stop with the thought and then create the feeling. I might as well just skip over the feeling and just jump right to the positive thinking. But you don't do yourself any favors when you do that. So that's not
Right.
what this is about. It's about feeling your feelings. And also, it's the idea that the opposite of an expectation is not apathy.
Mm. On the wallowing thought, when one, I want to ask somebody like, what is an appropriate amount of time to feel something? Can you acknowledge that for yourself? And then one, like, your estimation is probably short. You probably have more time to feel that. I think about I when you grow a human inside you during pregnancy, that's 9 months of growing. The hormones in your body don't go back to normal until at least 18 months after that baby's born. It took twice as long to heal from the pregnancy than it did to be pregnant. And there are things in our life when we experience grief, like I was working towards this goal for 2 years, so I'm going to give myself 10 minutes to feel sad about it. And you're like, is that a reasonable? And it's like, you might be sad about it for a month. Like, who
Yeah.
knows?
And there is there is a pendulum, and there are a group
Yes.
of people who are like, "Oh my gosh, I got my feelings hurt 2 years ago. I can never speak up again." And it's
Right.
like, "Okay, is that an appropriate amount of time to
Right.
feel the feelings on that?"
And I think if you are somebody who's like, well, I have no idea what an appropriate amount of time is, imagine a friend and them saying, like, hey, this is how I'm feeling. What do you think is a good estimate of time? And it does not have to be all consuming. It can be
That's
something,
true.
especially when you're looking at more complicated feelings like grief and after the loss, like you're probably not going to be done feeling that for a while. And there are ways that you can give it time and space without letting it take over your whole life. Um, yes.
And compartmentalization, all of the coping tools that we use can still be used from time to time if we use them intentionally and we use them thoughtfully. So,
Right.
like, I had someone that was like, "Hey, I've got this really horrible situation going on. My job is pretty easy, but I'm not getting a lot of fulfillment from it. But I am collecting a paycheck, but I have all these huge, terrible things. So I think I'm going to quit my job, take a leave of absence so I can spend more time like allowing my feelings." And I go, I don't know. Like, maybe that's a good idea, but you're telling me that you are capable of producing the amount of work needed to generate the paycheck, and then you would have 8 hours in the evening and then 8 hours of sleep. Do you need 16 hours a day to wallow in those feelings? Now, you might, because there was some complicated medical things, and you might need time off so that you can actually be with the person that needs care all this is going on. But I'm like, you might not need time off work. Like, you might actually need to do a job, and you may need to pause starting your new business. Because I did say,
Right.
I don't know that this is the right season for you to start your business, but are there things you can do? Are there parts of starting your business that can bring you some joy and some fulfillment in the middle of that? And maybe it goes slower, but maybe you can go ahead and start planting some seeds, and maybe you just create some groups of people and you just invite them for the beginning part of community that they're not paying for yet, but this will be joyful for you, and maybe you'll have to slow that season of starting your business. And it's like, oh, okay. I'm like, I'm here to tell you that we may say life is short, but life is long.
Mhm.
Long. It's been a long time since I was 26 years old and bought a business and had 3 little baby kids. So, it has been a very, very long time since then. Heck, this year, it's been 5 years since I left the housing authority. 5 years. That's
Mm.
crazy town to me. Feels like forever, and so much has happened since then. I published 2 books since I left the housing authority. So, I just say that, like, and maybe my hopeful anticipation actually comes from a whole lot of things not working out.
Mm.
And that is what has caused me to be able to say, "Oh, wow, they didn't work out, and yet then look at all of this bounty of blessings that I got even still."
What can you do to help model to the people around you hopeful anticipation. There's a tension between just the toxic positivity response, the what's the silver lining. How would you encourage that balance and still finding ways to model like this is what I like there's almost an acceptance to it? I don't know. What are
Mm,
your thoughts on this and how do you demonstrate it to
yeah.
others?
Well, for starters, if somebody's crying, let them cry. Let them cry. I know that sounds basic, but I recently had a situation where I just like somebody asked me how I was, and apparently I felt safe enough with them, and I just burst into tears. And I was met with, it's all going to work out okay. Can I have 5 minutes just cry? Like, I mean, it was not 30 seconds. So let them cry if they need to cry.
Mhm.
Um, it's my party. I can cry if I want to. The other thing is that um, be aware that of your hula hoop, and you can only control what's inside your hula hoop, like that's your locus of control. And so you can't always control other people. And I would try to read the room. Like if somebody is like, woe is me, instead of just offering them new advice, say, "Ugh, did it sounds like you've fallen in." I have literally said this to my friends. It sounds like you have fallen into like a deep dark hole. Are you wanting me to sit by the top of the hole so that you're not by yourself? Or are you wanting me to drop a ladder so you can help crawl out? Right? Because I can give you a ladder to help crawl out, and it's not as dark as you think it is. Um, the other thing is that sometimes people have to get there on their own. Like, you can't always lead a horse to water. You have to let them. And so I think the most important thing is just take control of your own actions and your own feelings, and be able to model crying when you need to, being sad when you need to, and then choosing how you want to go forward.
I recently got a compliment that I'm still trying to process that somebody said they admired my neutral positivity. And it was, I was like, say more words. I don't think I understand. And specifically, somebody was being negative in a conversation where they're like, well, this is how it always is. And I challenged it and was like, I was like, actually, what's really cool is that it's not always this way. And this is not actually what's happening. And I, in a way that didn't feel like I was being a contrarian, was able to challenge, well, maybe it's not this way. Maybe something could be different. Maybe something will work out in a way that was inviting others into that hope and specifically like I didn't set out to make anybody feel bad, but I also sometimes to a fault, I want things to be accurate. And so when somebody says always or never, you can expect me to say something. And if I didn't say it out loud, I'm darn sure thinking it in my head because it's just not true. Like it's not always
Right.
or never. And so I was able to offer, and I think this is there's too many people who are like, "You're sad." Well, there's a silver lining, and stand on the other side to be like, "Yes, you're sad, and, like, let's be sad, and that makes sense that you feel sad. It also makes sense that there's a silver lining somewhere, and it makes sense that you feel sad. A silver lining on a cloud, it's still a storm cloud that we're describing,
Right.
that, like, the sun is shining, and you see that's what that comes from because if we really think about that, it's talking about the a silver lining on a rain cloud and the way that the sun shines on it does this thing and it makes a really beautiful thing. But it happens because there is a dark cloud in the middle. Like, accept and acknowledge both. And when we are trying to reject one for the other, on either direction, either we want to go all storm cloud or all silver lining, I think it's wrong. I think it is because of the storm cloud, there is a silver lining and both get to be there. It is both this stinks and something good can come from it. So find a way to delightfully and positively challenge if somebody's trying to live in too much all or not, like all one way or all the other, to be like, actually, it's both. And that's okay. So that's what we got for you guys. hopefully this builds some hope within you and just this idea that you can see things as bigger than what the actual moment might be. Look for the positive that's going to happen. Look for the good things that are going to come forth from, quote, the bad things, and be open to that. Because if you're not open to it, you're not going to notice it. It is happening all around you. It is truly just about what lens are you putting on to look through. And have you decided to try find those moments or not? Thank you, everybody, for listening. And until next time, we hope you guys go be freaking awesome.